I'm gonna make a bit of a serious video here. So many people have been asking me, Larry, how's Summoner at 70? Is it a Ruin Mage now? Well, I'm here to show you it's not. And actually, it's a lot of fun. Don't look at the rain, by the way. This does not mean it is a sad and unsatisfactory job. It just means that it's raining right now and I can't really do anything about that. I have to record. Let's first just take a minute here and see Old Summoner, right? Old Summoner was dot management. You had 4 dots. You had Bio 2, Miasma, Bio, and Shadow Flare, and you had to keep those up all the time, and that was the complexity of the job. Meanwhile, in between the dots, you would have Dreadworm Trance, and you would go into that, and you would be Super Ruin 3 mode and Death Flare. New Summoner is not a dot management class. It is now a burst phase planning class. So first of all, I would like to explain, doing it on a dummy is not the most engaging. Though, doing anything on a dummy is not the most engaging. I mean, look at it. It doesn't really move and it doesn't, hit you or anything. It just stands there and gets hit. Everything becomes planning around phases because you are on this hell timer, Aetherflow here. You need to get through all 3 of your Aetherflow stacks. You need to use Dreadworm Trance, Ruin 3 during that, and you need to Death Flare. And you need to do all of that before your Aetherflow comes back. Because if you are sitting on Aetherflow, you are pushing back Bahamut, and you do not want to push back Bahamut. He's a happy guy. Do not make him angry. Okay? Please just look at this really quick. There is a lot of buttons that I have to push right now. Okay? I got all of these buttons, and I'm pushing all of them. It is still my favorite piano mashing job. Now it comes to the phase of Bahamut. You always need to make sure you get your Contagion up, Bahamut, Akmorn, and now you're in super crazy mode of making sure that you mash all of these buttons in time. Using the Ruin 4s, you need to use the Ruin 4s, especially during Bahamut, because if you don't, you are wasting a ton of opportunity of new Ruin 4s. I feel incredibly busy on this job. I am always looking and planning around my next burst phases, making sure that everything I have lines up correctly. I'm also using Ruin 3s all of the time. Right now I'm in Dreadworm Trance, so I'm actually getting the free Ruin 3s. But it becomes a job of getting as many Ruin 3s as you possibly can while keeping your mana okay. Right? So I'm not in Dreadworm Trance right now, but I'm still using Ruin 3s because I have the mana to do it. And I'm in Lucid Dreaming at the moment. If I get a little too low, then I switch over to Ruin 1. So it becomes mana management. It's super mana management. So the Dreadworm Ether here. What happens if I die right now? I have Dreadworm Ether, 1 stack, and I just use Aetherflow. If I die right now, I am fucked. I just have to play dead. Somebody revives me, I just play dead, I curl down on the floor in a beetle position, and I don't do anything for another 2 minutes because I lost Dreadworm Ether, I have no Aetherflow, I literally have no mana to do anything except for maybe like a Try Disaster and summon Garuda. Like, that's it. Summoner is wrecked if they die, and right now it's the only job in the game that is punished that hard by death. I don't know what they were thinking with that. I mean, Black Mage and Red Mage, when they die and get resurrected, they're completely fine. Black Mage just goes and does a Blizzard 3 and they're fine. Red Mage mana is okay. They don't really have to worry about their mana too much. Summoner is fucked. So you do not want to die as a Summoner. I feel like the other thing that people were thinking with Summoner is that it feels like a Ruin 3 job, but only because that is the actual spell that you're casting. All of the other spells that Summoner uses is off global. I am hitting an insane amount of buttons. This is the class that I push the most buttons on. Maybe, yes, the only cast bar that you see is a Ruin, but that's also because they're also all the same name. But they all have different uses. I'm using Ruin 3 when I have excess mana. I'm using Ruin 4 proc as soon as I see it so I don't waste the chance of getting another one. I'm using Ruin 1 if I'm low on mana and I don't want to be using Ruin 3. And I'm using Ruin 2 anytime I need to move or if I need to weave off global cooldowns in between. I think it's an incredibly rewarding job. I think it's a very punishing job to mistakes. It is insanely punishing to mistakes, and that's what makes it fun. You also need to plan around phases excruciatingly. In Susanoo EX, I found myself planning around when the sword was coming out. I found myself planning around when there was going to be a lot of movement, like during when you're jumping back and forth between the big line in the middle. On Red Mage, I was doing it, I didn't really care where the phases were, because in my rotation I could just adapt, I could just do what I needed to do, and I could move no problem and not have to worry about any of that stuff. But on Summoner, I have to plan the entire fight excruciatingly to the little minute detail, making sure that all of my burst phases line up in the best spots possible. And that is a fun job to me. So yes, it is not the same Summoner that A Realm Reborn and what Heaven's Word was. It is not a dot management class. Now it is a burst management class. So if you like burst damage and planning around all of that, this is the job for you. So all in all, I'm enjoying my Summoner. I love it. I will still be a Summoner main. I like Red Mage too. I'll go play Red Mage sometimes. I've been doing it on and off, but I love my Summoner very much. Okay, bye-bye. Always save your game files.